in your experience, how was that transition when it became easy? How did you experience that point where from the death struggle and the fear to when it became easy? How was that in your experience?
You mean like time-wise?
How did you experience that? How would you explain how that felt in your, I mean, relating specifically to experience?
It was incredibly fast. It was incredibly fast between the point where the mind turned off, then suddenly I found myself in a total void of nothing, a blackness. And
that was in a split second.
It would then, not even a second, probably fractions.
So you were fighting, you were dying, you were taking the water into your lungs, and you were like, "This is it," and then
I was in darkness, total darkness. But you got to realize, I had just come from a raging sea, and drowning in a an incredibly violent manner. My body was getting ravaged by the sea. To sudden quiet, sudden nothing, blackness.
How was the feeling of being there?
It was comfortable. It was calm. And for me, it was curious, because I hadn't experienced this before, and this was all new, and I approached it with a sense of wonder. And like I said, it was very comfortable, because I was in a very cold sea that was very violent. To suddenly I felt I was comfortable. I wasn't freezing. I wasn't. My body. I didn't know. I no longer had a body to worry about. And so it felt like a real sense of wonder. Where am I? Where am I? What is all of this? Even that sense of what's going on. It took me. I hate to use the word time. It took me a little while to come to the realization that I had died.
How did that feel?
It was just a realization. There wasn't a lot of emotion attached to the fact that I had just died. And when I came back, I was a little ashamed of that, because I kind of felt guilty that, boy, when I died, when I first realized I died, I thought, shouldn't I have been worried about my friends, my family that I'm leaving behind, what kind of suffering or whatever. I worried about that when I came back. But when I was in the void, and I came to realize, boy, I'm dead. I'm not in Kansas anymore, or I'm not on the west coast of California anymore. Then it was a realization. There wasn't any pro or con type of emotion. No, it wasn't negative at all. And it wasn't fearful at all. It was because I was in this comfortable space. There was nothing there. And I've heard some accounts where people have gone into that and found that incredibly frightening. Now, I think if you transitioned into death in a very peaceful manner and you found this total blackness, I could see where that might be frightening for someone. But it wasn't very long before I saw the light appeared, and it allowed me to move toward the light. And so I went from the darkness into the light. And that was a natural process as well. It felt I've never been able to determine whether I moved toward the light or the light moved toward me. But it did feel like movement. It felt like we were traveling. And the closer I got, the more I started feeling the sense of welcome and love. And that just sped the whole process up, because to feel that kind of love, reaching out to you, touching you, Um, it's because when in this physical life do we feel love reach out and touch us? You know, I mean, think of the times in life where you can say that you physically felt love reach out and touch you. It's hard to describe those moments. Those are short, brief periods in life. You know, I mean, we love our family, but that kind of love has rules. You know, and this love, yeah, this love is so much larger because when it touches you, you become a part of it. You know, and there's no conditions, no rules, no expectations. You know, it's just a part of this greater love that comprises everything.
So how about this void? Would you say it was kind of a waiting station, or how did that feel?
For a long time, when I first came back, I thought that was like the transition, to allow yourself to adjust to the fact that you just died, and now, you know, it was part of the process, it felt like to me. Now, you know, 26 years later, I don't know. I don't know that it was necessarily a holding area or anything like that, and I don't know that there was a clock ticking as to how long I was supposed to be there or anything like that. I really don't get that kind of perception, but it did allow me the time to kind of realize, you know, gave me the time to realize that I wasn't in a physical body anymore, and I wasn't alive anymore, but I was still there. That was still me. I was still conscious, and I felt more whole in that void, and I felt more. There's also an expansiveness. I felt like a bigger being than I was in this physical body. So I used that void or darkness period to explore that, to explore me. Who am I? Who is this consciousness? You know.
So the void compared to the violent death with the drowning was like a peaceful transition.
For me, it was the best transition that I possibly could have gone into.
Gave you a breathing space. It was calm. It was peaceful.
Yeah, it was calm and peaceful. Now I didn't because there's some people that will go out of body and see their physical body at that point of death. I didn't experience that. I went right into this blackness, and then it all felt like a natural progression. But before I came back to my body, I did observe my body in the water because my body had to be resuscitated before I entered back in. And I observed that resuscitation.